of my boys stepped on an IED. He became a triple amputee, lost his legs and his left hand.
Everybody's potential enemy, you know? You can't trust nothing. Any step you take could be your last step.
You step off this path, most likely you might step on a landmine. Magnetic strip.
That's all magnetic strip.
And I'm like, dude, back up. Because if I set this off, if there's something there, I don't want both of us to die.
When he left, I told him, you better make sure you get a lot of pictures.
Hey, who has a bigger head? Me? Or that?
Okay, why are you zooming in?
Whatever, boy.
It was crazy to know that you could be that close to someone at that early in the stage, and it's someone from a different background.
Say west side, go like this. Cross, fingers. West side.
We all looked out for each other. We had like a actual love for each other. It's not just some dude, you know, you go out to field ops and then go to war with kind of deal. Like, you know, your brothers.
Fucking love you, man.
I love you too, man.
When you come back from that deployment and everybody parts ways within 30 days, 30 days is not a healing process.
Every boom shot come to me, it take me back, man. I don't know how to get away from it.
Then I get that knock on the door. And you just go numb.
I see reels climbing out of the crater of the IED attack.
I miss everybody.
Yeah, me too, man.
All of them are my sons now, which they all call me Mom. I know they're a part of JB. Oh, they always will be.
We counted on each other from some of the most hellish places on earth and made it out of there alive. What we need now is an opportunity to heal together.
Boom, there you go. That was the trailer for American Sons. If you are on the West Coast, making its West Coast premiere at the Los Angeles Latino Film Festival, International Film Festival, go check it out on May 31st at the historic TCL Chinese Theater. You will be amazed, and hopefully we'll have some more information. I'll be talking with these wonderful creators, as you see on the screen right now, in just a second to learn more. But definitely, if you're in LA on May 31st, go check it out. I'm Kuya P. This is Nerds Rule the World. Joining me to talk all things American Sons are director and producer Andrew James Gonzales and producer Laura Varela. Thank you both immensely for your time. Really appreciated. Before I begin, I have to tell you of my emotional connection real quick that grabbed me when I screened this film this morning in preparation. I am prior service. I served in the U.S. Navy. And as I was doing that, I actually documented my journey. So watching this film reminded me of what I went through and my also desire, because before I went in, I was a filmmaker. That's also partly why I documented my journey. It reminded me of getting that material eventually out there and just everything that I went through and seeing, you know, that I'm one of the lucky ones that made it through and just seeing this story. I'm an empath as well as an artist. This broke me in quite a bit, but I'm here and it's important. And I love you both as other filmmakers to help bring stories like this, to help bring our stories out here like this. And I just want to give my extreme thanks from the bottom of my heart for your time and also this work with American Sons, Laura and Andrew. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Definitely. So, Laura, I was doing, reading the press kit, reading some of this background. For those that didn't have the blessing of seeing how this kind of came together, if we can start with that, of how this work came to you, how these videos came to you, and then bringing Andrew on board and just starting this journey to help tell these stories.
Thank you. We're so happy to be here. Thanks for having us. So the film probably began originally See, there's a lot of series of events and full circle moments that have led us to where we're at now, right? So there was a film that I made that came out on PBS in 2010, and that was supported by Latino Public Broadcasting, and it was about Chicanos in Vietnam, right? And how now they're using their art to kind of heal and, sort through memories, deal with PTSD. There was an artist, a writer, and a poet. So that film was broadcast. JV Villarreal's sister saw that film. And unfortunately, when JV passed away, she received these hard drives with all his footage and photos. And when she wanted, somebody to take it, because she knew that it was really special. She knew that this was very important, right? She looked me up. She thought I was living somewhere else and realized that I was living in San Antonio as well as her. And so she came over to my office about a year or two after he passed and gave me this footage. And so, like, I had just finished the other film, was working on some other projects, and I told her, I says, "Thank you so much. Of course. So, what are you going to say when somebody tells you that? I was quite humbled." And I told her, I don't know how long it's going to take, but I promise you we're going to get this film made. Fast forward many years later, me and Andrew were working together and then talking about developing a feature film. And so I showed him, we were talking about some projects and properties. And I tell him I have this other one too, and I have this footage. And that's when I showed it to him. And after that, yeah, there's no going back. He could take it from there.
Yeah, so at the time, I had just finished some projects of mine. This being my first feature around 2019, I was ready to take something on like this. And if anybody who has made a feature, you know that it's something you're never really ready for, and you
We're
realize it's
getting a
one of the
little
most
bit of
difficult
lag.
things
Oh,
that
you're
you've
back.
done.
A little bit of lag, Andrew, but you're back.
Am I back?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, so 2019, I got involved with this project, and at the time, I was finally ready to take on a feature. And if someone who has done a feature before, you realize that it's not an easy task to take on. And so looking back, it is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, but the most rewarding. And so, seeing this footage, seeing the archival from Corporal J.V. Villarreal, it just blew my mind. Something that was so intimate and personal, and showed the behind the scenes of what it was like to be a Marine in Afghanistan, one of the most dangerous places in the world at the time. And then also seeing this young Latino from San Antonio who was a lot like us, someone that is from our backyard. And we just had a strong connection to it, and it just seemed perfect for us to be involved, and to take our hometown and to elevate it, to where it is now. It's just something that's very special for not only the family, but also the Marine brothers, and also for our city.
Agreed. And I love that it came to you as also Latino filmmakers telling a Latino story. And again, because a lot of times, I'm sure we all know, our stories aren't represented. And so it's so beautiful that we have this and that you all are helping tell it. So can we talk on in regards to that aspect and that importance of why these stories need to be told? If I can start with you, Andrew, about, I've seen some of your doing research with you, both of you, amazing body of work. And that's kind of like your desire as creatives, as filmmakers, is to tell, these with the work you're doing. Can you speak to the importance of why we need stories like this, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's really important to show the reality of life and the breadth of the human experience, and for us, just the representation of people who are on the front lines in combat for America, and different soldiers who have served all the way going, back into the Revolutionary War, the Spanish-American War, wars that happened in Texas, Civil War, and just all the different cultures that are represented. And normally when you see a mainstream narrative, you kind of get the same picture a variety of different times, kind of over and over again. And so just for us, it's just important to show reality and show, the different people that are represented on the front lines, and kind of behind the scenes of how that, how that comes to be. Certain communities that, for instance, that are targeted and that are, marketed to straight out of high school. So depending on what side of town you live on is how close the recruitment office is to your school, or in some cases, recruiters visiting the school. So that doesn't happen in all schools, and I just think it's important to understand sometimes when people don't have certain opportunities, the Marines come calling, or the armed forces come calling. And so it's just very, that along with just, like you said earlier, a story that just came to us. And it was just the right story to tell. And it's a wonderful, beautiful project. And we're just very proud to be a part of it and be the ones to be able to do it.
And well done. Just an amazing film. Just all those connections is just some of the statements. They even said it, making fun of college boy here and there in that one scene, and just all of that, like it hit home. I know him, I know these people. If I can go back to you, Laura, so you have this ultimate responsibility of taking this work, working with Andrew, making this happen. A producer's job is thankless. I know that as well. Now that I'm out of the military and doing this, can you tell me, making this happen, so you get Andrew on board, you're now going to talk to everyone, getting them to speak, kind of break that shell too a little bit, because we kind of put up a front at first as military guys, I'll say myself, until you can really crack that seal and get them to share their real emotions. Can you talk about that when you're in production?
Absolutely. So when I did the first documentary on Chicano Vietnam veterans, I knew for a fact that you had to spend a lot of time with them to gain their trust without cameras, right? So when we were developing this film, we were lucky enough to have April is still part of our team. She's going to be here in Los Angeles. But the men trusted April, and they trusted Yolanda, the mother. So because she's the one who connected us with them, would travel with us in the first development shoots, I feel that they trusted us. But it was also something that I communicated with Andrew, and I said, you're their age. I think you need to spend time with them, get to know them, and that's the way we can start telling these stories, right? Because they're not going to talk to us if they don't feel like we understand them or have any sort of empathy about what's happening, right? And I think it's also really important that you take care of people, like, you know what I mean? It's not just something that we're trying to take their stories and you know what I mean? And just for our own purposes. I feel like we really did have a mission and to make sure that we're filling in these gaps of history, that we're letting people know that Latinos have a long tradition serving in the military. We have a long warrior tradition in our communities, a lot of loyalty. And the military has been a long stepping stone to to the middle class, right? For working class families, it's our stepping stone to the middle class. For Latino families, my dad in particular was in the military, worked at civil service his whole life. And so, but it is unfortunate in terms of our population in the military, it's very high proportionate to our population in the US. So we have to make sure that America sees that and recognizes that we are part of this American fabric. And like I feel like that's kind of like the gist and the motivation as well, is that we need to tell people of the sacrifices our community makes as well, for our country. So yeah, it's just kind of that corazon that we have to put into it, and just take our own personal stories from our families, from our communities, and make sure they're being represented.
Definitely. Well said. While you're collecting these interviews and putting this together, and then I'll bridge back to you, Andrew. Was there anything that hit you along the way that was very profound, that you may want to share, of just some of the beauty and just just some of the things you learned along the way while speaking with the folks involved with this project?
Well, I mean, the whole thing was profound. So
yeah,
it's really hard to identify one moment, but I would say the being able to share with someone else's story, like myself, I'm not a veteran, but my father is in the military, my grandfather was in the military, all my uncles were in the military, and so being from San Antonio, you're just surrounded by that environment, and so being able to share that and being able to be welcomed in and treated as if I'm one of theirs, like one of their own, and the relationships that, like Laura was saying, being able to spend that time with these guys, there was a lot of times where I'd be traveling, and it was during pandemic, I would be traveling solo, and I would just be staying at, some of the subjects' house for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, and doing that several times, you just get to know somebody, and a lot of times you're just hanging out, you're going from place to place, or we'd go to the beach and hang out, or just kind of do whatever they wanted to do in the community, and over time, I just started rolling the camera, like, a lot. I just roll the camera to the point where by the time you would say in the film, when some really dramatic stuff started happening, it's kind of hard to believe that the camera is even there, because it's extremely intimate, and at the time the camera was extremely large. So those two combinations just makes for kind of an interesting way to go about shooting. And what I was able to do in terms of life experience, you know, being there and this film taking 7 years and all that, like that's almost a decade of your life. Like I was like 34 when I started filming this, and I'll be 43 next month. And so it's just like you change so much. And when you're doing something like this and you're having these experiences, some really intense experiences with others who are telling their stories, it changes you and it really shapes who you are, and then who you are also is shaping the people that you're with. So it's kind of like a holistic experience, and I'm grateful for it. I feel like we're going to be able to take this story and impact so many other veterans that are out there because of the time that was spent and the care and the intimacy and all that just took time. And when you're in it, it's very difficult, and you're wondering, you know, are you going to get the funding you need? Is anybody going to care about this? Is it going to be any good? And sometimes it's not happening as fast as you want it to happen. But because of that, you're getting the time needed to just maybe take a step back here and there and, you know, go have a lived experience and then come back and be able to like infuse that back in the project. And so much of who we are is in the film. And I think it shows, and it's just very personal to ourselves, and I think it just speaks to the intimacy of when someone's watching it and the experience that they're going to have. So I know that's like a long answer, but it's just like, just the experience itself was extremely profound, and I'm going to leave the audience to just watch the film and just recognize the profoundness in the scenes and let them draw their own conclusion when they see that.
Oh yeah, it hit me. I gotta tell you, I probably used the whole tissue box up of just the tears were flowing. So well done. If I could hit you on a filmmaking standpoint real quick, you get this amazing footage. It's kind of like, wow, a treasure trove, right? He documented his journey. You're collecting these interviews. Can you tell me? You know, it's 7 years to make it. Get everybody together. You maybe stepped into a step back, but finding that through line to create the narrative, and you guys did it in less than an hour, I think was the runtime from what I saw. Just what that was like, putting it all together, finding how we're starting off to the end point, and just all the different things that we go along with American Sons.
Yeah, well, when we first started developing it, we kind of had an idea, right? Because we saw the footage, we saw what we had access to, and then the very first shoot, we met the men, and we knew there's a story here. We shot in Southern California and Oceanside, I believe, and Downey, or I don't remember where it was, but once we did that with April, we took a trip, we knew we had a story. So our early proposals were always talking about having JV kind of narrate and being, you know, interwoven through their narrative. And we thought that originally that the story was going to be that as we see kind of JV's journey, you know, and it was closer to the end, that we would see the men working on healing and they were going to be doing better, right? But that wasn't necessarily the whole story, right? There was some issues. They're trying to help each other and trying to save each other. We were lucky enough, like during production, that Andrew went to Montana to that reunion, and that's when we realized also the stories of Angel Rios and what happened to JV the actual day that he passed away. And I feel like that was kind of that kind of came up in the story towards the end of editing. Like we weren't expecting that. We were kind of looking at the brotherhood and them working with each other, trying to help each other, thinking that that was going to be the whole through line. And although it is, I think the information at the end where we really find out what happened to both of them, it was the same thing that happened to both of them, except that JV passed away and Angel lived, right? I think that was like just profoundly impactful in terms of us like recognizing that it could have been the other way around, right? It could have been Angel and it could have been JV that was alive. So and then also seeing the just how Jonathan Eckert, you know, was still going through it to this day. You know, I know he's
Oh,
healing, he's working
crushed me.
on therapy,
Crushed
but
me.
like he's still like very grateful to JV and his sacrifice, right? And has allowed him to live his life and see his child. So I think that was the for us it was the kicker to be able to celebrate life too in a way, but it's still kind, you know, it's sad. It is sad what happened, and it is sad that we do have to sacrifice our men to some of these, you know, these wars that we're sending them to. So we just have to be very careful as Americans where we're going to be sending our military sons and daughters for sure.
Completely agree. Again, I want to thank you both for your time and this film. This film actually inspired me to again dive back into that footage that I recorded. I actually have my own Navy reunion coming up very soon, and I've contemplated, talking to them because, like these men, for all of us, it doesn't leave you. And me talking to you right now has been my therapy from my experience. And so again, this cycle of learning and the responsibility of what we do that have these roles to talk about life experience is just such an honor. And I want to thank you both for the work with American Sons. To close this out, again, I want to remind everybody that check out American Sons and these amazing filmmakers if you're in the LA area on May 31st at the Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival. Andrew, if I could go back to you, when people see American Sons, what do you hope people take away from it? And the same for you, Laura. And then actually, I have one more question after that. I apologize.
No problem.
I remembered one more thing.
Yeah. Well, when the audiences come, what I want them to see is that these men and all the veterans out there, they're dealing with so much, and they're not. A lot of times you don't know. So when you say thank you for your service, it's important to really understand, what you're thanking for. It's not just what happened in combat; it's what's happening every single day. Whether it be the memories that they're dealing with or ailments. And a lot of times it's not somebody missing an arm and a leg. These are the internal wounds, the invisible wounds, as they call them, that they're dealing with and challenges. And so, I want them to just really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And we tried to be as real and raw, intimate as possible when we were showcasing that. So that's the big thing that I want them to know. And if you're a veteran yourself and you've been thinking about reaching out to somebody, now's the time. I want you to think about that, and when you go home, call somebody up, or maybe if you need to talk to somebody, now's the time for that. So it's a time for reconnection. It's a time to reunite with those you served with, and know that none of us are going to be able to make it out here alone. And we're human beings, and we're meant to be social, and isolation is not the place for us. As we go on our journey. And one thing that I just don't want to mention, if we just have a little bit of time, is that we're very grateful to both the family of J.B. Villarreal for bringing this footage and this story to us and allowing us to be a part of this. And we're also very thankful to Latino Public Broadcasting and Black Public Media who support PBS and independent filmmaking. And I know a lot of people hear about what's going on with budget cuts in the federal budget. And we just want everyone to know that without funding sources like this, independent stories, real, raw, true, independent investigative journalism doesn't get to have a platform. So we're very grateful for those opportunities.
Mm-hmm. We're also really grateful to California Humanities, who was also one of our funders.
That's right.
For the project. And we all know that they're kind of going through some transitions right now. So one of the things that I feel like I want people's audiences to take away is that we all know a veteran, or we all have a veteran in our families, and we all have to just kind of make sure that they're okay. And we need to love them and make sure that we also hold our politicians accountable in terms of how they take care of them. When they're there, when they sign up, when they're serving, and then when they get out.
So well said. I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. I think I've so far made it, but all of those words you said just hit me. As I was watching this film, I was breaking down, like I told you earlier, and but it's okay to cry. And I love that how each person in this film held each other up. Each soldier held each other up, and I've gotten used to that. And so if I cry, I cry. If we have to share these, again, talk to a friend, everybody. So beautiful. Again, you guys are the best. And my last question is, for those that can't make it to Los Angeles Latino International Film Festival, what are the future plans to get this documentary out there to more people? Is it going to get on streaming? How can people watch it? Because I want everyone to see this.
The film will be coming out on PBS in January. So that's the latest discussions we had. We just came back from the PBS annual meeting in Atlanta. And right now it's slated to premiere January 2026, and it should be streaming on the PBS app and maybe the PBS YouTube at that time. And so, yeah, the whole world will get to see it. We're also going to be doing some film festivals, many film festivals later in the year, and yeah, community-based screenings. So
yes.
We're
Yeah,
hoping as
so
many people as possible can see it. Yeah.
so follow us on AmericanSonsFilm.com, American Sons Film on Facebook, Instagram, and American Sons Doc on X. So you can get all the updates. There will be other opportunities for streaming in the future. We just can't really reveal that, as you know, we haven't been given a green light on how that'll happen and when it'll happen. But if you can get on the website, you can sign up for the newsletter and just get direct access to everything American Sons.
I love that. I'm going to put all of those links in the description below. Please, everyone, show love, show support, follow, do all the things. And as we get closer to January, if I could have you both back to check back in, because I also wanted to ask you, how is everyone on the cast, and everyone that, you know, all the subjects that you spoke to, and to you and your crew, Andrew, Laura. It is a responsibility that we have as filmmakers, and you guys are just so beautiful for what you're doing. Thank you both for your time. Salute to you all on film, and to everybody that opened their heart, the Villarreal family, everybody. Thank you for sharing your story, because we can all learn from this and build. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Laura. So appreciative of your time. I'm Kuya P. Nerds Rule the World. Again, show love, show support. All the links for American Sons will be in the description. Check it out. Again, if you're in LA on May 31st, go see it. And January 6th, or January, not January 6th, PBS. All the things, but you'll find out on the links with American Sons. I'm Kuya P. Nerds Rule the World. All right, there's a cut. Thank you, guys.
Nerds rule the world.
Pleasure chatting with you. Love to all my nerds who rule the world.
Yeah. Nerds rule the world.
Yes, we do.
Thanks. Nerds rule the world. Thank you.
I love the nerds ruling the world, so more power to you.
Patrick, what up, man? And yes, they do. Nerds rule the world, kid.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Awesome. Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Hello.
Yes, they do.
Yes.
Oh,
Nerds rule the world.
I got. It's in the title of your show, like Nerds rule the world. Like, I want more black weirdos on screen, and I don't feel like we ever get to see that very much.
Thank you so much. Nerds do rule the world.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Nerds rule.
Love it. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Julie.
Yes, nerds rule. Yes,
rock on. I love it. Thank you so much.
It's good to see you. I love Nerds Rule the World.
But yeah, there's a heavy nerd component, man.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if you ask me, nerds rule the world. So
absolutely.
And you're right. Nerds do rule the world.
We're just the best.
Yes.
Thank you, ladies.
So much.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
It's your boy Kuya P. Nerds rule the world. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you.
They rule the world, all right.
Yes. Take care, Tony. Thank you, guys. Recording. All right, here we go. All right. In a 1, 2, 3.